I'll tell you this. It's rare to see two excellent MCU movies release back to back. I think the last time I could recall a moment like this happening was during Phase 3. Phase 4 basically died off a cliff, and Phase 5 didn't have much to offer. But it seems that Marvel is trying so hard to get back on track. First, they gave us that excellent movie, Thunderbolts, in 2025, and now this. The Fantastic Four, First Steps. Oh, and also speaking, this is finally the Fantastic Four film adaptation that we've been wanting. The first two original Fantastic Four movies weren't too bad, but then there's the 2015 reboot. I don't like the 2015 reboot. But for the first time in ages, I felt old school Marvel magic coming straight towards my face during the screening of this film. It's only a little bit of time before things start getting all doom and gloom next year. So, how did this superhero movie do its family team justice? How does it compare to other Fantastic Four movies? And what preparations does it get its audience going forward? In today's movie review, I will be talking about the Fantastic Four, First Steps. Why is this Marvel movie so fantastic? Well, let's find out why. Firstly, this Fantastic Four is a very faithful rendition to its superhero team with elements of spark and joy. Unlike its past predecessors, it finally gives our favourite family team the true introduction that they more than deserve. The other versions were crap and barely had anything to do beyond their special effects. This time, it stays faithful to its source material by actually making Galactus a cosmological giant instead of a massive galaxy storm. Or is he actually in Rise of the Silver Surfer and this is just him using his powers off screen? They also stay faithful to the Silver Surfer that's seen in this movie, who is the Shia LaBeouf version, and they bring Reed Richards and Sue Storm's relationship to life by giving us Franklin Richards, who will be playing a much bigger role after this movie and beyond. If you've been craving a good Fantastic Four movie after seeing Marvel barely utilizing their creative techniques, you'll get it all here. Matching very well with its 1960s setting, the set style is absolutely stylish. It's very classic-like with the use of stereo-like sound design and retro scenery. It's like every scene, you can really feel that old school feeling. It uses elements that you would see in the 60s. It's unique and extremely creative. Not only that, but the visual style is an absolute treat, especially the scenes that take place in space. It's one heck of a scene treat for the eye. They also did a very good job on Galactus. While he isn't the massive planet-sized behemoth that we all know and love, he's still big enough to fill the entire screen with his sheer presence alone. In fact, he's so huge that whenever he appears, the screen format changes to an IMAX ratio, and if you watch it on that said format, you can see the attention to detail with the sound and scaling. You can feel the vibrations, destruction, and more. This is easily one of Marvel's most visually stunning work in recent years, very similar to their Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. To help make its superhero team great, the chemistry is very great and adds very well with its actors giving it their all here. Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben are all here, alongside their amazing respective actors, Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Eben Moss-Bachrach. With the help of this fantastic team bonding with the baby child, Franklin Richards, it tackles plenty of themes that are all about family. It's tackled very strongly here. Alongside its classic 1960s setting, it ensures to have them as the first ever family team to be in the MCU, since that's how it was in the comics. I liked each member equally, and it's definitely hard to pick a favourite. Now that I think about it, this film is very similar to The Incredibles, with its similar characters and powers, the baby, an old school setting, and even a cool little cutscene that plays in the post-credit scene of the film. Don't know why, but I found it to be a great little Easter egg that pays homage to it. For once, the emotional depth is very well executed here, and the sheer amount of goosebumps that it can give a viewer too is practically overwhelming. The core emotion is very hard-hitting, making some of its deep themes of family more hard-hitting. It's some of the best that Marvel has delivered in years, as back then the emotion wouldn't be great because it happened so predictably. But now, the characters are more relatable and better executed because of that reason. And talking about massive goosebumps hitting, the music by Michael Giacchino rocks very hard. Most of the music is great, but the main part that hits the most is the orchestra that chants the Fantastic Four team, and even some of its other characters. It does well on feeling like character themes so people know what story the film is focusing here. If this isn't a key ingredient to restoring old Marvel magic, I don't know what else is. Finally, this movie does something that superhero movies back then tend to always have. It avoids many typical cliches and tropes that most of those have. Some examples being the origin stories, which is briefly explained via a montage at the beginning of the film, and forced humour that comes off as repetitive instead of funny. In this movie, it has some very nice character build-up with strong development so that the story doesn't become too slow. If they had included all the cliches, it just would have been boring. Nobody, especially someone who's been watching superhero films for years, needs to retell the superheroes' origin stories from scratch unless any major changes have occurred. They still mention how the members of the Fantastic Four get their powers, but all you need to know is that this film takes place a few years after they became superheroes. It's very similar to Superman earlier this year, so I'm glad this is the direction that these films are going with. The Fantastic Four: First Steps is a thrilling start for Phase 6 and also an overall very intriguing way to begin its new saga of films. It's finally the Fantastic Four film that one comic book fan could want. Unlike past film adaptations, this movie actually does this team the right way with everything from the comics intact, only helped by the sheer power of the cast. Family messages are tackled a lot, as this really takes good inspiration from other past movies. The set style alongside its visual effects are very pleasing and nicely rendered in a 1960s-like setting. The emotional core is great, the music is epic, and it avoids many cliches. Before anyone asks me in the comments section on which film I think is better, this or Thunderbolts, they are honestly both very close, but I think Thunderbolts has a slight edge because it was more of a surprise since nobody expected it to be that good, whereas Fantastic Four has this hype build up since its promising promotion last year. Whatever Marvel is trying to go into right now, they are doing a great job in fixing the mess they once started. The Fantastic Four: First Steps is a Marvel adaptation done right and gets the studio back on track for good. Also stick around for that mid-credit scene because it now all comes down to Doom in 2026. Stylish, classically retro, and marvelously performed. The Fantastic Four: First Steps exceeds in its hype suppositions and launches the bar high in the MCU. My final score for this retro adventure is a 10 out of 10, and a grade S. Much like Thunderbolts, it's easily one of the best MCU movies in years, and I really hope it's a step forward for Marvel in the future. I wasn't a huge Fantastic Four fan until now. The first two movies were fine, and the 2015 reboot we obviously don't speak of, but this installment has sparked curiosity amongst a lot of Marvel fans, and it's going to be a very important installment for many reasons. But with that being said, leave a like on this video if you guys did enjoy my review on the Fantastic Four First Steps, and also remember to subscribe if you are new and hit that bell icon to see more content on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Take care of yourselves.